We all dream about it, right? Finding that perfect, untouched spot. But what happens when that dream meets, well, total logistical chaos?
Yeah, it's rarely straightforward. Today, we're doing a deep dive into one specific trip, looking at the travel and, frankly, the struggles of a surf exploration mission to Gabon in Central Africa.
We're pulling this directly from the archives of John Seton Callahan and the surfEXPLORE group.
That's right, we're tracing their journey, aiming for these point breaks down in Mayumba, way in the south. It's known, but very rarely surfed.
And all these details, the planning, the mishaps, the solutions, they come from excerpts of a fascinating new book. It's called surfEXPLORE, Discovering New Surfing Locations Worldwide.
Written by John Seton Callahan himself, and it's being published by Schiffer Publishing.
So the mission, as you said, was reaching Mayumba. We're going to follow their path right through the equatorial forest. It's quite a story.
It really is. It shows what real exploration looks like on the ground.
And just quickly, that book, surfEXPLORE, it's set for release on October 28th, 2025. You'll be able to find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, W.H. Smith, Kinokuniya, all the major booksellers.
Definitely one to look out for if this kind of adventure interests you.
Okay, so let's get into it. The surfEXPLORE group picked Gabon, and specifically Mayumba. Why there?
Well, they knew about the potential. Mayumba gets hit by these really powerful southwest Atlantic swells, especially during the winter season there. The waves themselves weren't exactly a secret.
But getting there, that was the challenge.
Oh, absolutely. The access was the big question mark. This wasn't just hopping in a car. They were planning initially a whole convoy of vehicles.
From the capital, Libreville.
Exactly. Hundreds of kilometers south through some seriously tough terrain. So the planning had to be meticulous.
And a key part of that was having someone with local knowledge.
Crucial. They had Erwan Simon with them. He was actually born in Gabon, a native French speaker, which is essential because Gabon is, right at the heart of what's called Françafrique.
Explain that a bit. It's more than just the language, isn't it?
Much more. It refers to the whole complex web of political, economic, and cultural ties between France and its former African colonies, including Gabon. Navigating that, dealing with bureaucracy, local customs, even just getting fuel. Erwan's background wasn't just helpful, it was vital.
So they had this solid plan. Convoy ready, local expert on board. Sounds good. What went wrong?
Well, the plan completely fell apart, literally overnight.
No way.
Yeah. The night before they were supposed to leave, their main French contact, the guy providing the vehicles, the whole convoy setup, he crashed his car.
Oh, wow. Seriously?
Seriously. Ended up in the hospital, broken arm, and just like that, their entire transport strategy was gone. Poof, before they even started the engine.
Okay, that sounds like game over for most expeditions. How do you even recover from that, especially in a place like Libreville where, renting a suitable 4x4 convoy isn't exactly easy?
Right. Private cars suitable for that kind of trip are rare. They had a classic aha moment, though. They realized they were thinking like Westerners.
What was the local solution then?
The taxi-brousse, the bush taxi. These are the long-distance shared taxis that are the backbone of transport in much of Africa. That's how people and goods move.
So instead of a private convoy?
They went to the Carrefour, the main crossroads in Libreville, where all these taxis gather. It's this chaotic, bustling hub.
And they just started negotiating.
Pretty much. They haggled, found a driver named Auguste who knew the southern route really well, and hired him in his trusty Mitsubishi pickup truck full-time for the whole trip.
Incredible. From a planned convoy to one guy and his pickup, that's some serious improvisation.
That's exploration, right? Adapting on the fly. So they loaded up Auguste's truck and set off way before dawn.
Leaving the city behind. And the pavement, too, I imagine.
Almost immediately. They crossed the equator, heading south towards Lambaréné first, but the paved roads didn't last long.
And this journey south, it's hundreds of kilometers, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was that drive actually like, day after day?
It was defined by two things: the equatorial forest and red dust. Endless, vast, deep green forest on all sides.
And the road. Well, long stretches with just unpaved red dirt, deeply rutted in places.
The truck was kicking up.
Huge plumes of this incredibly fine red dust.
Yeah.
It gets absolutely everywhere, coats everything, you're just living in it.
Wow. And they were doing this for days.
Days. Driving through the forest, stopping overnight at these very basic truck stop hotels, just immersed in the rhythm of that route.
There's one anecdote from the book that really paints a picture of how remote this was. They pulled over at one point near a little roadside complex.
Yeah, a small place, sort of a bar and maybe a few rooms. They stopped because Auguste smelled something very distinctive.
And what was it?
It was bushmeat being prepared, fresh bushmeat.
Okay.
When they went closer to look, there was a guy literally burning the fur off a dead monkey with a blowtorch, getting it ready to be roasted.
Wow.
Yeah, it was laid out on a rack alongside some other local game, ready to be sold right there.
That's a very stark reminder of where they were. Far from any supermarket. Exactly. It's the reality of life in the deep forest. People rely on the local environment for food, and this is part of the local economy, the local diet. You wouldn't see that on a typical tourist track.
So after days of dust and driving, they finally got close to Mayumba, near a town called Chibonga. But Mayumba itself isn't on the mainland road network, is it?
No, it's separated by a big estuary. So the final leg involved Auguste driving the Mitsubishi pickup onto this, well, extremely rickety-looking ferry.
Like a proper ferry.
More like a basic wooden raft, really. Just enough to get vehicles across the water. Definitely held your breath a bit, I imagine.
I bet. And once they got across, what was Mayumba like?
It had this really relaxed, slow kind of vibe, but you could tell it had seen busier times.
How so?
Lots of empty houses, buildings looking a bit neglected. It gave the impression that many of the original residents had perhaps moved away, probably to Libreville or other bigger towns looking for, better opportunities.
The town in transition, then.
Definitely. But what was really interesting was who was there. While some locals might have left, new people had moved in. Migrants.
From where?
All over West Africa, actually. The team mentioned eating at restaurants run by Nigerians, folks from Benin, Togo.
Creating a new kind of community.
Exactly. They found this great little spot called Le Weekend, run by a really friendly woman, Stephanie, from French-speaking Cameroon. And the guys running the local shops where they bought supplies, they were French-speaking Moroccans.
So even in this remote corner, it's a real melting pot.
It really was. Global migration patterns reaching even into places like Mayumba.
Okay, let's talk surfing. They made this huge effort to get there for the waves. How did they even know when the swell was hitting? You mentioned the winter season, but getting forecasts.
Yeah, that was another challenge. The internet connection in Mayumba was, let's just say, painfully slow, like dial-up days, maybe worse.
So no checking fancy swell charts online.
Absolutely not. Forget detailed forecasts, tide charts, wind models. It was completely impossible.
So how did they manage?
It forced them back to basics. Really rudimentary forecasts, maybe getting a general idea a few days out, but mostly it was old school. Meaning you wake up, you walk down to the beach, and you look at the ocean. That's your forecast.
Huh. A real throwback. No surf cams here.
Not a chance. It's purely analog. You use your eyes, your experience. It really highlights the effort involved when you're truly off the grid.
Right. And the ultimate prize for all this effort, the dust, the drive, the dodgy ferry, was getting to surf inside Mayumba National Park, wasn't it?
That was the goal. These pristine left-hand point breaks within the park boundaries, an area of totally untouched coastal forest. They suspected these waves had maybe never even been served before.
That was incredible. But accessing a national park, especially with surfboards and cameras, I sense another hurdle coming.
You sense correctly. Bureaucracy strikes again. Getting permission to enter the park specifically to get to the coast was incredibly difficult.
It's so uncooperative staff.
Very uncooperative. And they demanded a fee. A very, very large fee.
How large are we talking?
Over $500 in cash.
Wow.
For what?
For a single day permit. Just for the group and their cameras to access the park for one day, it felt. Well, let's just say it didn't feel entirely official.
Over $500 for one day.
Oh.
That's steep. Did they debate just not paying it?
Oh, I'm sure they did. It was frustrating. Gabon's an expensive place anyway, and this felt like, maybe opportunistic gatekeeping. But the swell was looking good. Based on their old school beach check, the conditions looked promising.
So mission versus cost.
Exactly. In the end, the mission won. They'd come all this way. They handed over the cash.
Okay, so they paid the fee. But getting to the wave wasn't just about paying, was it?
Not even close. After paying, they still had to physically get Auguste's Mitsubishi truck through miles of deep, soft beach sand to actually reach the point setup they'd identified.
So more hard work.
Yeah, hours of pushing, digging, using sand ladders, just fighting the terrain even after they'd fought the bureaucracy. Early morning grind.
But the payoff. After the breakdown, before they even started, the dust, the monkey, the ferry, the $500, the sand pushing, what did they find when they finally got there?
They found perfection Glassy conditions, about 1 meter waves, maybe head high on sets, just peeling perfectly down the sandpoint. Smooth, clean lines.
And crucially,
Nobody. Absolutely nobody. No other surfers, no footprints in the sand, no sign that anyone had ever ridden waves there before.
incredible.
Given how insanely difficult and expensive it was just to get there for that one day, the surfEXPLORE group feels pretty confident they might be the only people who have ever surfed that specific wave.
That is the definition of exploration success, isn't it?
Yeah.
Finding and riding something truly untouched.
It's the core of what they do. That's the reward for all the hardship.
So they got their waves, mission accomplished, time for the long drive back north to Libreville. Auguste showed up on time, reliable as ever.
Yep, Auguste was ready to go for the return trip, and things were going relatively smoothly, actually, until they got outside Lambarene again.
Oh no, what happened?
Bang. Loud thud from under the truck, followed by that horrible scraping sound of metal dragging on pavement.
Don't tell me.
Drive shaft. It had completely disconnected from the rear axle, just sheared off or worked loose. Total catastrophic failure, hundreds of kilometers from anything resembling a proper garage.
Okay, in most places, that's a tow truck, days of waiting, major expense. How did Auguste react?
Auguste and his son, who was traveling with him, sort of like his apprentice mechanic, they were incredibly calm about it, like it was just another Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah. They just pulled over, got out their tools, slid under the truck right there on the side of the dirt road, and started fixing it, bolting it back together. Like it was routine maintenance, resourcefulness on another level.
Amazing. And while this major roadside repair was underway, the surfEXPLORE team had a bit of unexpected downtime.
They did, and it turned into this amazing little cultural moment. They were waiting, wandered off the road down a little path, and found this small clearing in the forest.
And what was there?
Someone had set up a makeshift bar, just a few tables, some drinks, and there were maybe 20 local people gathered around a tiny, flickering black and white TV set plugged into a generator, I guess.
Wow. In the middle of nowhere. What were they watching so intently?
The World Cup. It was 2010, and it happened to be that famous match where Portugal was just absolutely hammering North Korea like 7-0 or something.
No way. For the team.
They just joined the crowd, pulled up a seat, bought a beer, and watched the end of the match with everyone, cheering for Portugal's goals. A completely unexpected shared experience born out of a breakdown.
That's brilliant. Sometimes the unplanned moments are the most memorable, aren't they? The breakdown actually led to this genuine connection.
Absolutely. It perfectly shows how real travel, especially in remote places, forces you into these unexpected, intimate encounters with local life. The drive shaft failure became a highlight in a weird way.
And a final point on logistics, you mentioned something about a bridge.
Yeah, just before they left Mayumba on that first trip, Emiliano, one of the team members, actually met some Italian civil engineers. They were there surveying
Surveying for what?
for a new bridge, a proper bridge to connect Mayumba to the mainland, across that estuary where they took the rickety ferry.
And has that bridge been built now?
It has. It's completed. You can actually see it clearly on satellite images now, which of course makes getting to Mayumba radically easier than it was for the surfEXPLORE team back then.
Right. So summing this up, we've seen how finding that perfect wave involved needing deep local knowledge like Erwan provided.
Yeah, and incredible logistical improvisation, like switching to the taxi-brousse.
Plus navigating the raw realities of nature, the endless dust, the roadside bushmeat stops.
And the equally challenging hurdles of human bureaucracy, like that crazy $500 park fee.
And through it all, these surprising moments of connection, like watching the World Cup in a forest clearing during a breakdown.
So when you think about this whole journey, documented by John Seton Callahan and the surfEXPLORE group, what really stands out to you? For me, it's the grit. The reality is so much more about mechanical failures and navigating obstacles than just the postcard shot of the wave.
Definitely. And that brings us to that new bridge you mentioned, the one connecting Mayumba now, making access so much simpler. It leaves us with a final thought to ponder.
As technology and infrastructure, like bridges, make these incredibly remote places easier and easier to reach, how did that change the very nature of exploration?
Does removing the difficulty, the risk, the sheer effort required fundamentally alter what it means to discover something? And is that easier access always a good thing, especially for keeping these places pristine?
Something to think about for sure as the world gets smaller.
A great question. And remember, this whole deep dive was based on excerpts from the brand new book, SurfEXPLORE, Discovering New Surfing Locations Worldwide.
By John Seton Callahan, published by Schiffer Publishing.
It's coming out October 28th, 2025, and you can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, W.H. Smith, Kinokuniya, and really, wherever you buy your books. Check it out for the full, incredible stories.